you have or you're thinking about buying a K2 Plus, you're going to need to watch this video. This is my third and maybe final video on this machine, and I got some really big updates that I think you need to be aware of that are concerning this machine, and a few more reasons why I say either wait or don't buy this machine at all. As I've continued testing this machine, I have found some more critical flaws. I'm going to insert a video here that I made for TikTok, and I'm going to give you a little context here. So I was attempting to print this very part out of carbon fiber PETG. Now listen, I started the print 3 times, right? First time I sent it, I came back 3 hours later and the print had not started. Said something about a photo sensor error in the bed. Could not get past it. I had to restart the machine, shut it off, turn it back on, recalibrate, try to get it to work again. So again, I cleared everything, went back to the Creality slicer, which by the way, I'm still using, even though I hate it. And I restarted the print again. And this time, the same thing happened. No error, but it just would not start the print. Finally, on the 3rd attempt, I went to go start this print, and for whatever reason, it would not stick to the bed. It was doing all this stuff, and I noticed that there was a ball of filament on the nozzle, and it would not stop. And again, I'm going to insert the video right here from TikTok. So I hit stop because it's not sticking. This is literally a minute later. It's still going. It won't stop. And it continues to ball up. I mean, you have to unplug it. You have to move this big ass printer, get behind it, and unplug it. This is scary. What if there's a fire? What if, I don't know, what if it was destroying itself? Creality, only the best. Think about this for a second. So I noticed the problem. I went up to the screen, I hit the stop pause button, and I said stop, right? And it sat there with a little spinny wheel. In the amount of time that I saw it spinning the wheel, I was able to get my phone from my desk, walk back over, open the phone app up, initiate a video, and actually start filming it, doing it in the process. And it kept sitting here, just spinning the wheel while the printer continued to keep printing and printing and printing while the ball of filament got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Now for a second, I want you to imagine that this was Creality Cloud and I was out and about and I saw that there was a problem and I went to go shut the printer off and it would not shut off. Imagine I saw flames or I saw smoke or I saw something and the stupid printer would not shut off no matter what I did. And so I was left with one option, which is to move the machine over, reach behind it, and shut the power switch off. This is a problem. This machine, again, I'll reiterate, I love the machine. It does a great job. You can see for yourself the quality that I'm getting out of this printer. Prints fantastically. I have no issues with it. The problem I have with it is the firmware, the slicer, and one more thing that I think you need to be aware of before you buy this machine. The extruder in this machine is not good. And I have had to take this extruder apart. Now keep in mind, I've only had this machine for 2 weeks. I've barely done any printing on it. I've done some prints on it, but nothing major. And the extruder in this printer is all injection molded plastic. The gears are plastic. It is K1 all over again. It is not a good extruder. It is not easy to work on. When you take it apart, it springs apart like something from Dr. Seuss. It's just not a great design, and maybe it works great for this kind of thing, but here's where the critical flaw is in this extruder. It will not do TPU. I spent most of my day today trying to get this to do TPU prints. Now, one time I got it to finish one part, and then it wouldn't do it again. And the only reason it would finish it is because it turns the volumetric flow rate down to 3. Do you know how slow volumetric flow rate of 3 is? Well, basically you set it up as TPU. When you go to the filament settings right here, you set this up as TPU, and it automatically turns the volumetric flow rate to 3, which makes everything creep and crawl. So when you're trying to manually feed filament through, It's literally barely moving at all. It is so incredibly painfully slow. Even with that, I could not get it to stop escaping and wrapping itself around the gears, which led to me taking this extruder apart about 6 different times before I finally gave up and I went over to the FLSun S1, and I'll show you the print, I'll show you the filament, and I'll show you that the FLSun S1 on the first attempt pulled it off perfectly. I keep comparing the FLSun S1 Pro and the Creality K2 Plus because these machines are in the same price point, okay? These are the same price point, around the $1,300 mark. This machine has a filament dryer. This machine is twice as fast as the K2. This machine does better quality than the K2, okay? And this machine can do more materials. This is TPU. Here is the TPU that I got. It's an Amelin Rainbow Transition TPU. It's the only TPU I have. And the K2 would not print this material no matter what. And this is not like some super, Ninja Flex type stuff, okay? This is just normal TPU, 95 shore hardness, I believe, TPU. And the K2, that $1,300 machine, would not print TPU to save its life. This brings a lot of issues with the K2 that I think that we need to discuss. At $1,300, there's a lot of things that we have to deal with for a machine at that price point that I don't think are very fair. I got nothing against Creality. I got nothing against, other companies other than Bamboo Labs. But a Bamboo Lab quality machine, that machine is not. And anybody that's told you that has something to gain by it. I don't have an affiliate link for Creality, okay? I don't want a Creality affiliate link. That machine I purchased with my own money because I wanted a large format 3D printer, and I had heard good things from quote-unquote influencers. I expected it to be able to do TPU. Even though I don't do a lot of TPU, much like the Bamboo Lab printer, I expect it to just do it. It says it can do it, it should do it. It should not be an issue. In the first year of ownership of a Bamboo Lab printer, I did not have to take the extruder apart. The K2, I've had to take it apart 5 times in the last week. 5 times to fix various issues. Either filament getting stuck in the filament path, the one time the tension arm got stuck the other way somehow, and I had to take it apart. And again, the assembly and the disassembly of the extruder is an absolute nightmare. Let me try to pause it really quick while we're here so I can show you this. Good. All right. Let me take the, let me reach in here. So I just shut that off. You see that? It says caution, spring may pop out. They're warning you on the extruder that it might pop out. You see that little brass screw boss right there? So that is designed to be a screw that goes in there and holds the spring in place. But it doesn't come with one in it, and I don't understand why. The Bamboo Labs have one so the spring doesn't go flying out. But instead, Creality went through the trouble of writing on the front of it, spring might pop out. It makes no sense to me. This is the kind of stuff from Creality that drives me nuts. So does any of that make any sense to you guys? They went through the trouble of actually putting it on the extruder that the spring might pop out, knowing that the spring is going to pop out. Did they include an extra spring? No. So if you're like me, when it comes apart and the spring goes bouncing all over your office and you're trying to find it on your hands and knees, it's a little frustrating, to be honest with you. But the bigger issue here is why do I have to take the extruder apart at all? Why am I having to work on the printer in the first 5 days? I literally, on my first year of ownership with all my Bamboos, I don't think I had to take the extruder apart one singular time. I didn't have nozzle clogs. I didn't have any issues at all. It just worked. So there's a lot of influencers talking about things just working, and then they're talking about, well, this is Creality's bamboo killer. This is not Creality's bamboo killer. They are not even close to killing bamboo. If for nothing else, the slicer is complete and utter garbage. They've done nothing to fix the slicer. They haven't reached out to me. They haven't said anything. I understand that you can root it now, but my last experience with a Creality machine, and I've only ever owned one Creality machine, was with the K1, and the same thing happened. It printed fine for about a week, and then all hell broke loose, and I could not get it to finish a print. The only thing that saved that printer for me was finding that helper script. I rooted the firmware, and then from that point on, that machine worked absolutely flawless for a year. That, with the addition of a new extruder that I had to buy myself, and I put a micro Swiss hot end in that machine. And those three things together made that machine usable. And I see people celebrating Creality, right? My K1s are awesome, but they have all replaced the extruder, they've all replaced the hot ends, and they've all rooted the firmware. You should not have to do these things to get a $1,300 printer to print. I'm not speaking out of school here. This is just the way it is. And any influencer that tells you, well, you know, there's some little things we can improve. No. If you buy this machine for $1,300, you are a fool. I'm a fool. I listened to influencers and I bought the machine. And while, again, largely I love the machine, it works great, it prints fantastically, it's all the stuff that goes around it. The user experience, the user interfaces are not good. The slicer's bad, the screen is bad, it freezes and hangs up, it goes non-responsive and continues printing. Those are big deals that need to get fixed. And frankly, after this print's done, I'm shutting this printer off and I'm not turning it back on until that helper script is done, and I can root the firmware and I can set it up the way that I want to set the firmware up, and that way I'll know for sure that it's working and it's safe to use. But if that machine were smoking, if that machine was destroying itself, if it was banging and knocking and throwing around, and I could not shut that machine off, I can't stop a print from the screen, that is a major problem. I'm not telling you whether to buy or not to buy it. I'm telling you what my experience is with it. And I think I've been printing a long time. I know a lot about 3D printers. And while I'm very impressed with Creality's effort, I think they've done a really good job. I think that they have cut some intentional corners, like trying to make Orca Slicer look like Cura was not only crazy to me, they probably spent a bunch of money doing it, and it's absolutely nonsense. It's just stupid. It's stupid. It makes no sense. They're trying to relate to their old audience with Cura, but in the meantime, they're ruining everything, and they should not have done it. And Orca Slicer still today, I've confirmed this 10 ways from Sunday, does not work. Yes, I can see the device tab. Yes, I can slice the parts. Yes, I can save the G-code to my computer and then upload it through a web interface. I can do that, but you cannot send prints directly from Orca Slicer. So it is what it is, which also means that you can't sync your filaments. So if you have the CFS system, Orca Slicer is not an option at this point in the game. It's just not. So anyways, I hope I've given you an informed answer so you can make your own decision. If I were you, I would wait. I think if they can figure out the firmware, if they can figure out the slicer, or if the community figures out the firmware and figures out the slicer, Micro Swiss comes out with a new extruder for it or something like that, I think we'll be in good shape. But then and only then would I purchase the machine again. Have a great day. Thanks for all the follows and the shares and the likes. Leave a comment down below. Is there another machine that you want my quote unquote hot take on? Leave it down in the comments below. Maybe I'll buy it and we'll do the dirty with it and see what we can come of it. See you on the next one.